西亚这个地区哦。那他现在是新加坡大学的教授，也是那个美国乔治城大学的讲座教授。那今天要讲的题目是 Women on Power Dynamics， 就是说谈那个马来世界整个历史上女权的问题。所以说，那个妇女的地位跟权益，并不像我们所想象的那样。那事实上呢，在整个历史上，女人地位是相当高的甚至有出现过所谓的那个女苏丹很多重要的那个人物，甚至呢，在那个印尼的那个独立建国运动，也有一个女的领导者很重要的人那我们从这个，在这个今天的演讲来重新思考，究竟女权在整个马来世界或者东南亚到底是什么样的地位？那请赶快就做好了，我们马上要开始。那个Khairudin老师呢，他会用英文，我请他慢慢讲。有什么问题？有问题我会帮忙翻译。OK， 好，谢谢。好，引开，你们都不鼓掌。
Okay, good afternoon everyone. Can you hear me? I think I don't have to use this.
Okay.
Right. Thank you, Professor Nabil, for introducing me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to speak a little bit slower so that you can understand a little bit what I say. And if you have any questions, you can ask it in Mandarin. Professor Nabil, are you going to be here? Yeah, you can ask your questions in Mandarin, and then Professor Nabil can translate it for me. Are we okay so far? You can understand, right? Okay. Okay, first, before we go on, I just want to know first, how many of you are first-year students? First-year students, okay, good. How many are second-year students? Good. How many are third-year students? Alright, so for the third-year students, put up your hand. You must ask the most questions. Okay? And if some of the other students have questions in Mandarin and you think you can translate it to English, put up your hand and help to translate. Are we cool on this?
They have a fourth year.
We okay, okay. In my university in Singapore, when I teach in Singapore and also in the US, we have a rule when we do our lectures. What is the rule? The rule is, as the professor, I don't stand in front. Sometimes I go to the front. Why do I go to the front? Because I want to check whether you are checking Facebook or Instagram or are you sending message to your boyfriend or girlfriend. That's the first. The second is, when I give lecture, I have what I call as the 15-5 rule. What is the 15-5 rule? The 15-5 rule is I talk or show up for 15 minutes. 我明白华语一点一点. I will speak only for 15 minutes, and then for 5 minutes you have to talk. Is that okay? Right? So I talk for how many minutes? How many minutes? 15 minutes, and then you talk for 5 minutes. Why do I do this? Because nowadays, young people like you, your attention span is only 15 minutes. After that, it's Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, whatever, all the things that Line, all these things that I also don't use that much, but you all are always distracted. I have children, I can see it's like that, alright? Okay, so what I'm going to talk about today is on women in Southeast Asia, what we call as the Malay world. The Malay world, here the word Malay world basically means Southeast Asia, the Malay world, right? And I'm going to talk about how women, in Chinese, women is what? What is women in Chinese? Niren, right? Niren, is that right? Niren. How women in the Malay world were very significant in that society, right? And they are so significant that you cannot find anywhere in the world, historically, where women are always on top of that society. If you study Chinese history, women is always below. The feet will be bound. Correct, right? What is that called in Chinese? The bounding of feet? Chang? Changchu. In Southeast Asia, in the Malay world, there was no such thing. So I will talk about why women are on top in that society and the power dynamics. So the word power dynamics is how women and men get along in society, in the Malay world. Okay? You all know what is Malay, right? Malayan. 你知道 Malayan 吗? Right? Malays are people who live in Southeast Asia. In fact, if you go to Heng Chun, to Kaohsiung, and you go up to the sun, the mountain. I went to the mountain before for my army here in Taiwan. The mountain people are actually Malay. They speak Malay like me. They speak the Malay language. So we are looking at the Malay world. How many countries does anybody know here? What are the countries in Southeast Asia that speak Malay? Anybody knows? Malaysia. Good. Some more? Indonesia. Some more? Singapore. Some more? Brunei. Very good. Some more? Not bad, your students. Some more? You already got 4 right already. There's 6 places where they speak Malay. Some more? Philippines. The Philippines. You see Filipinos here, right? I see a lot in Taiwan, in Thailand. They actually speak Tagalog. Tagalog is actually Malay language. And in southern Thailand, you all know Thailand? How do you say Thailand in Chinese? Taipo. Okay, so all these places, they all speak Malay. There are more Muslims in Southeast Asia than the rest of the world. The most number of Muslims in the world is in Southeast Asia. It's not in the Arab world. So all these places, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Southern Philippines, Brunei, they are all considered as Malays. Okay, so let's start with that first. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about today, I will begin with to talk to you about the importance of gender in the study of history. Gender is very important. Later we will talk about what is gender, and I'm sure many of you third-year students, if you do not know gender, I will shoot you. Right? Okay? So secondly, we're going to talk about the state of women in the Malay world. Right? How were women treated? If in Chinese society in Singapore, when I was young, whenever somebody gets a girl, they will give the girl away. Chinese in the past, they don't like girls. In China, they will kill the girls. In Singapore, they will sell it to the Malays in the past. So we're going to talk about the state of Malay women in the Malay world, and then women in pre-colonial Malay society before the coming of the British, the Dutch, the Americans, and the Spanish. How were women treated in that society? And then I'm going to talk about how colonialism. What is colonialism in Mandarin? What? Germany. Was Taiwan colonized before? By who? By Japan and Dutch. So the Americans didn't colonize you. You
Culturally.
Culturally. The Americans also colonized you. Look at the spectacles now. All this American culture are here. Okay? And how colonialism changed the state of the women, and how women became modernized. Like never before, they adopt Western modernity, and we will end by talking about the paradoxes of modernity. Now this sounds like a difficult word. Anybody here can explain what is the meaning of paradox? What is a paradox? A paradox is when something has two outcomes, good and bad at the same time, right? So we talk about paradox. Why modernity is good, but at the same time, modernity is also bad, right? Anybody have any question now? So far? Don't be shy. The other thing is, I practice liberal democracy, which means anytime you want to ask me something, or anytime you disagree with me, you listen and, this is not correct, put up your hand, say I disagree. I know Taiwan Parliament, you can do that, right? Right? I don't know whether you are DPP or you are Kuomintang, it doesn't matter. Over here, it's liberal democracy, right? Khairudin style. Okay? So let's begin with gender and history. Now, the beautiful thing about studying history is that history is essentially first a study of human beings. And when you study human beings, the first thing that becomes important in the study of human beings is the study of the relationship between men and women, right? And we cannot escape from this. All societies are filled with men and women. And as historians, as people who study the past, we want to know how men and women get along in society at different levels. The first level, write it down, is the level of the home. How do men and women get along at home? Do you have a sister at home? Do you have a brother? Yes. At home, who is the most powerful person at home? Neither mama or neither papa? Mother is most powerful. Right, huh? Do you have a brother at home? You have a brother. Elder brother or younger brother? Younger brother. Who gets the most love from their parents? You or the younger brother? Both. Okay. There's democracy there. Right? So, if you look at the level of family, because family is the smallest unit, you can see a lot of things that you can study. How do Taiwanese Chinese society treat women at home? Do women like her, when she graduates, she must learn how to cook? Do you have to learn how to cook? Yes or no? No. Bad woman already. All these things are the interest of the historian. The historian studies first, what level? Family. The second level, when we study men and women, is the level of the society. In society, how do men and women get along? In some societies, women cannot participate in politics. Correct? In Taiwan, can they participate in politics? Women? Of course. Your rector is a woman, correct? Don't mess with the rector. Right? Because she's very powerful. So, first is family, second is society, and third is the level of civilization. In the whole civilization, what is civilization in English? Can somebody translate for me? In English, civilization. What? What? Wenming, is that correct? Wenming, at the level of civilization, who is the most powerful in a whole civilization? Is it a man or is it the women? And this is what historians will study. This is why we call gender in history, how men and women get along with each other in society, and we are concerned with who has the most power and who exercises this power. Right? To know whether women are indeed powerful, you look first at how women are treated at home. I will repeat this. If you want to know whether Taiwanese women are powerful, powerful in Chinese is what? Your what? Liu Chen, right? Is that correct? Liu Chen. If you want to know Taiwanese women are powerful or not, you look at home. If the Taiwanese woman can shout at the husband, in society they are powerful. If at home the husband say, sit down, eat, cook, that means they're not powerful. This is what we call gender in history. The home becomes the basic unit of analysis to understand every other level. Is it interesting? I've already spoken for 15 minutes. Now your turn. So, if you are studying Taiwanese society and you are studying gender, what part of gender do you want to look at? The rest can also chip in. If you are studying gender in Taiwanese history, what part of gender do you want to look at? This gender dynamics. What would you look at if you are studying gender?
你们听懂问题吗？就是说，在台湾做性别研究，你要看什么那个内容啊方面的一些事项、议题啊什么的。
So how would you study gender in Taiwanese history? Can somebody say something?
Alia.
Yeah, Alia, say something. If you are studying gender. what would you look at? One thing to look at is, do Taiwanese families prefer boys or girls? So they prefer boys or girls? What? Here, do they prefer boys or they prefer girls? For first child, when someone wants to get their first child, they want what? Tapo or chabo? Which one?
Tapo lah.
Everybody wants tapo, correct? Huh? If number 1, chabo. Number 2, chabo. Number 3, chabo. Then how? Stop already. I see all these small things, right? This perception of chabo in the family is something that we can study. Why Chinese think like that? Why Chinese prefer tapo rather than chabo? Why? Because this idea that tapo is more important than chabo goes back to the ancient past, where men go out to war and women stay at home, so you need more men in that society. But people forget that those things are already the past. So this is how you study gender in history. And what is gender? Gender is about men as it is about women. So when you hear the word gender in any of your modules, it is actually the study of men and women. Chabo and tapo, right? And it refers to, don't worry about difficult words here, I will explain very slowly. It refers to socially constructed roles, behaviors, activities, and attributes that a given society considers appropriate for men and women. Basically, when we talk about gender, we talk about how women behave. So suddenly a woman say, I want to be like Wonder Woman. Then people say, this one chapo or this one tapo. Or if a woman say, I want to carry weight and I want to make my body all big. She comes to campus like this. Do you see her as a woman? See, well, this is a strange woman, correct? Huh? But for you seeing that this kind of woman is strange has to do with how you have been taught what a woman is. Or suddenly your friend, who is a man, he comes to class and suddenly he wears a skirt. Right? You will find something is not right with this guy today. Right? But it is not about right or wrong. What we are concerned with is about how society looks at this kind of behavior. Don't wear a skirt to class. Okay? So we are looking at what we call as socially constructed roles. Socially constructed roles, which means whether you are a man or you are a woman, is not only because of your biology, not only because you have the body shape of a woman or a man, but how the society construct what you are. Right? You become a woman because your mother teach you women, girls must wear pink, boys must wear blue. Correct? Right? If the boy carry a pink bag, this is mafan. Big problem. Why he carry pink bag? Correct? Huh? And if a girl suddenly go to campus and cut her hair bald, what do you say? You want to be, what is happening to you? Yeah, skinhead. Yeah? Okay, so this is it. And roles, responsibility, rights, and place within the private and public domain. So when we talk about gender, as I was saying just now, we are talking about the private domain at home, or in the rooms, or public domains, which means like here in the university. We are concerned with inside and outside at the same time. Okay? So I've already spoken to you about the importance of gender. Now I will talk to you about why we must study gender in the Malay world. Okay? So gender provides a window to uncover changes, continuities, problems, and conflicts in the relations between men and women in the Malay world. When we study gender, we can also see how a society has changed through time. Like Taiwan. If in the past, all women must know how to cook, now, like she said just now, don't know or cook style, it's okay. Right? In the past, if you are a woman and you say, I don't know how to cook, everybody will say, you are a bad woman. Right? But now, if you don't know how to cook, go downstairs and eat. Buy packet meat and then bring home. So we are looking at the changes. Why does this thing change? And when these things change, what conflict has it given to? The other example I can give is I noticed as I am staying here in Taiwan, most Taiwanese women are working. Is that correct? Most Taiwanese women go to work. But if you go back 50 years ago, most Taiwanese women stay at home. So what has happened with this change? When Taiwanese women stay at home, what happened? They have more interaction with the children. Correct or not? When Taiwanese women go to work, what happened? What happened to the children? The children goes to the cram school, they call it. Yeah, so they put the children somewhere and do homework. The children is more closer to their teacher than to their mother. You can see the changes now. We cannot see this change if you are not studying the change. When you study this change, you can see your generation, you are closer to your mama and your papa than the current generation. The current generation of children, they are closer to their teachers and their friends. Correct? And their handphone. Right? This group of people now, they are closer to their handphone. Why are they closer to their handphone? Which one? They are closer to their handphone? Because their mothers are not at home. If in the past, 20, 30 years ago, the mother is always at home in the private sphere, they come back from school, the mother will ask, have you eaten? Have you eaten already? Haven't, okay. Why your body also dirty? The child will get scolded. Right? Now the child come back from school, he doesn't see the mother. Go to another school. Right? See the teacher. And teacher say, okay, I don't want to talk to you. You go and play handphone or tab. Right? So the whole day, the child doesn't have any interactions. That leads to conflict. And that's why, because of these changes due to modernity, gender provides us to see these changes. And these changes have an impact on your lives. And we want to study it. Alright? So what is the state of women in the Malay world? We want to ask the question, are women in the Malay world without any power? Right? Historically. Are they actually oppressed? Anybody know what's the meaning of oppressed in Chinese? What? Show yapo. Are they put down? Right? Show yapo. Show yapo. Are they more liberated than European women? Whenever you look at European neighbor, right? You look at European women, they want to take off clothes, take off. Right? They want to go here and do this, they do this. They want to sing, they sing. Right? Are these women in the Malay world last time oppressed and less liberated? Or how do they cope between traditions and modernity? How do they hold on to their tradition in comparison to their modernity? So we want to ask this question. What is the state of women in the Malay world in the past? And as I talk about the Malay world, I want all of you to reflect on Taiwan. Right? Are women in Taiwan in the past oppressed? Were they in a bad condition? And are women now in Taiwan better off than before? You look at your mother, her life, is it worse than yours or better than you? We're going to ask this question soon. Okay? So when we look at the pre-colonial period, long time ago, about 400 to 500 years ago, women in the Malay society were treated in a very high, or were placed in a very high position. If someone gives birth to a woman, to a girl, the whole family will be very, very happy. More happy than when they have a boy. Right? So different in Malay society. Why did people want girls rather than boys? Can somebody try and guess? Why did Malays want more girls than guys, than boys? Why? Which one? Why did Malays prefer girls and not boys? Can somebody try to guess? Why they want more girls? Women have more power, some more. Why? Why did Malays want girls rather than boys? Because? What is so good about girls? What is so good about girls? Why do they want more girls? Because? They can get money when their daughter get married. Good answer. When you get married here, how much is it here to get married? Very expensive, I was told. Don't get married to Taiwanese women. Very, very expensive. Correct, huh? Is that correct? Yeah, correct. When they get married, then you get the dowry. Do they have dowry here also in Taiwan? Where the man has to pay with the family? Second reason, somehow why? Why the family want more women than men? Why? Because women are much more reliable. You don't believe? You look at your brother. Your brother's room. If your brother have a room, look at your brother's room. What's wrong with the room? The room is always very, very messy. Correct, huh? You tell the girl, go clean up your room. Okay, mama, I can do now. You try the boy, go clean up your room. Okay, he's sitting on there. I have 4 sons and 2 daughters. I have 6 children, 4 sons and 2 daughters. My son, I said, pick up that thing. Okay, he still sit there. I say again, pick up that thing. Yeah. I say, well, you're still sitting there. But the girl will say, can you pick it up? She doesn't answer. Go and do it. Why? Because women are generally more reliable and hardworking. So, more importantly, the reason why Malays wanted women is because fertility was an asset. When you get women, children, and when you get a daughter, that daughter can give birth to more children. Can men give birth? Cannot. So fertility. Malays were concerned with fertility. A woman who is fat, in Chinese fat is what? Pang. A woman who is pang is more desirable than a woman who is thin. What is thin? So, Malays don't like thin women. Now, if you look at models, all very thin, like they want to die like that. Right? But Malays, they want women with big hips because they can give birth. Thin women cannot give birth. Right? So, fertility, women who give birth to many children were held in high esteem. If you want to know the meaning of wealth in Chinese society, not only in Malay society, in the past, the meaning of wealth, fa chai, is children, not money. Gong si fa chai is not you have a lot of money. Gong si fa chai means you have a lot of children. That was the concept of Chinese beliefs, which was also Malay beliefs. That's why they like women. Women can give birth to more people. If you have a daughter, your daughter can give birth to more daughters and more sons, and this will make the population grow. So write this down, because for the Malays, population is power. Population is power. What does that mean? Power. Population is power. Why is population power? The more people you have, the more bigger you are, the more stronger you are as a nation. And this is Taiwan's problem. I checked your fertility rate, very low. Right? 1.03. Taiwan. Very low. All women get married, don't want children. Pain. Correct, huh? Mafan, don't want children. And this is the thing that Malays see as a bad thing in the past. Women who can give birth to children, they are more desired and sought after. If people look at you, this woman can give birth, I want to marry this girl. Right? And a fertile body is more desired than a well-shaped body. They don't want someone who has like this kind of shape. They want someone with this kind of shape. This kind of shape can give birth. This kind of shape can only get married. That's all. Alright? So the different conception of shape of the body. And this is the other interesting thing. When you study gender, you are also studying the body. So again, look at Taiwanese history. If you look at the pictures of Taiwanese women, I went to your Taiwan National Museum already. If you look at the pictures, the paintings of all Taiwanese women, they are all big and strong. Everybody was very big and strong. If you look at the Taiwanese girls now, they are all very slim. Everybody wants to be slimmer and slimmer and slimmer and slimmer. Wear skinny jeans, right? You know what skinny jeans is? Yeah, so the idea of what a body is has also changed because of gender. When gender relations change, body also change at the same time. Okay, are you all still with me? Okay, can you follow my discussion still? Is it okay? Do you all like to study women? Only the men like to study women. You like to study women, right? They are very interesting, right? Okay. Okay, but if you have any questions, you can just ask. Like I said, if you do not want to ask in English, you can still ask in Mandarin. Anybody wants to ask a question in Mandarin now? You can ask. Don't be afraid of me. I don't bite you. Anybody? Anything to say so far? No. Okay, let's go on very quickly. So, if you are interested to read more about this, I would encourage you to check out this book. I think it is in your library. If not, it should be in one of the libraries in Taiwan. This is by a scholar. Her name is Barbara Andaya Watson, where she talks about the power of women in Southeast Asian society from the ancient times until the 18th century. The title of her book is The Flaming Womb. Womb is the place where women give birth. And the Malays used to believe that the womb is like a flame, like fire. The womb is very powerful, right? And that's why women are very, very well respected in the past. As you can see from this, what statue is this? What statue is this? Which religion? Huh? Buddhist or Hindu? Do they have this in Buddhist temple? No way. Buddhist temple only have Kuan Yin. Right? Kuan Yin is different. This is actually Hindu. But what do you see from this statue? What do you notice from the statue? What do you see? What do you see? You see this, right? The boys, you know what's that? If you don't know, something is wrong with you. Right? I'm not making a joke out of this. When you go and see all these statues, when you visit Southeast Asia, and you go to Borobudur in Java, you go to different parts of Southeast Asia, and you see these statues, the Hindu period, you will see that the women all have very big busts. Why they have big busts? Because they put silicone inside. No. Right? Why they have big busts? This big bust is a representation to show that they are fertile. They can milk their child and they can give birth. And that's why they make it like that. It's not because they are doing porn or anything like that. No. No such thing. Okay? I know you young kids all imagine all the dirty stuff. Right? But this one is not the dirty stuff. This is basically a representation. These gods, these Hindu gods, are a representation of the society. The gods that they believe is an image of the society's ideas of God. Got it? Okay. So, why are women so powerful? Just now you already answered the question. Women are so powerful because they have the power of domestic autonomy, which means their power is at home. Where is their power? At home, right? Women guarded the homes. At home, in the Malay society, the men cannot have any say. Women decide on everything at home. Okay? And not only did they guard the homes, all Malay women in the past, because they control the home, they have to learn martial arts. Here, Chinese call it Kung Fu. Martial art, what is the Chinese word for martial art? I always watch Jet Li, Bruce Lee, but I don't know what's the word. Wushu. All women must learn martial arts. All Malay women will carry in their hair one pin where they will put poison in it. They will put poison in it. Why? They carry that? Why? Because if a man touch them, they will take the pin and I'm not making this up, and please don't bring this to Cheng Kung campus. Very dangerous. So all women, because they believe in the empowerment of women, all women must learn some kind of martial arts to protect themselves, to fend off sexual violence. Now you all read a lot about Me Too, right? Me Too movement, Me Too movement. The Malays already have a Me Too movement in the past. You don't mess with a Malay woman because she will kick the hell out of you, right? So you don't mess with a Malay because they have this autonomy of themselves and they have the knowledge of the home, the children, and also the husband's domestic lifestyle, which meant that women could assert their authority wherever they deemed necessary. Let me explain this. Because women are at home, they know the homes, right? Very well. They know what their home is. They control the food. If the man doesn't treat them well, what they put inside the food? They put the poison in die. Correct or not? Something that your mothers do but you don't know, right? Okay? Don't like the father, just feed him all this nasty stuff. 55, he's gone. I can marry again. Correct, right? So in the past, men are afraid of women. Why? The father is afraid of the wife because the wife controls the food first, and the wife also controls what is the norms and values of the home. What the children is supposed to do, how the children behave, not the papa. The mama is the one who decides. So to say that women in the past are powerless, it's wrong. They are actually quite powerful, and this is what we call invisible power. Invisible power you cannot see, right? Or we call it the power behind the throne. The power behind the throne. You cannot see that they are kings, they are statesmen, but at home they decide everything. So domestic autonomy gives them another power in that society. Okay? And they also have the power of specialized labor. Women were gatherers. Basically, in the past, before the coming of modern economy, women take care of the plantation. When I travel from Taipei all the way until Tainan, I see a lot of agricultural lands. Agriculture. Most of Taiwan is actually agricultural land. Am I correct? Am I correct? What does Taiwanese grow? What do they grow here? Do they grow rice here in Taiwan? Rice, right? Who works in the fields? Men or women? Men. In the Malay world, women work in the field. Men go out and hunt for animals. And that's why the work is specialized. Women stay at home. Men go out to work. So when they come together, they know this is your work, this is my work. What's the difference now? Men go to work, women go to work. Who's at home? Children at home. Nobody is at home. There's no specialized labor. This is what we call as specialized labor. You know your role, I know my role, and that's why we respect each other. Nowadays, I am working, you are working. I want to buy a new TV. The husband say, cannot lah. We have 2 TV already. We don't have to buy another TV. The woman say, what? You don't want to buy? I have money. Correct? Correct? I don't care. You can say anything you like. This is my money. That is your money. I buy based on my money. So this happens, and that's why there's more divorce now. Divorce in Chinese is what? Lihun now, because the woman say, my role is also your role. In the past, the roles are clearly defined. You do this, I do this. And they all respect each other. They were also expert traders. And Malay women in the past, they would marry anyone that comes into the Malay world. So this is something interesting about the Malay women. When he comes to Malacca, to Malaysia, and the Malay woman likes him, for example, the Malay woman would marry him. From him, the Malay woman will have 3 children. And then he say, I want to go back to Taiwan. The Malay woman say, bye-bye, give me all your money, you go back to Taiwan. And then the Malay woman would marry him, who's from Europe. So this is the practice in the Malay world. What is the practice? Marry, divorce, marry, divorce, until they have 12, 15, 18, 25 children. My grandfather, he had many wives, he had 25 children. My grandmother was his 30th wife. It was normal for the Arab family. Don't do that. I have 6 children, enough. Right? Don't marry so many. It's a big problem. You become poor. Okay, but in the past, amongst the women, because they have the power of fertility, anybody they meet, they will marry, have children, divorce, marry again, divorce, marry again. Why do they do that? I asked my students in Singapore, why do they do that? My students say, because they are power sex. Right? Not because of super sex, power sex. Why do they divorce, marry again? Why? Can somebody explain? Huh? What was that? To get the money and the wealth. Because when you divorce with someone, you take the person's wealth, and that's why Malay women in the past, because of this marriage and divorce, they become richer and richer and richer and richer. So girls are giving you ideas. If you really want to become rich, find a rich man and then put things in his rice. He get angry with you, then divorce. Right? It doesn't work during the modern times. Why? Because there's no specialized labor. In the past, the man know what he's supposed to do. When he finish the trade here in Southeast Asia, they want to go back to China. They will give all their wealth to the woman. Okay? So a normal woman, female Malay trader, would have wealth that could last for a few generations. Because he married, he divorced, she married, she divorced. She will get so much money that her children, her grandchildren, her great-grandchildren will have all this money that she got. And that's why if you look at the Malays, some look like Chinese, some look like Indian, some look like sometimes European also. Because Malay women used to marry so many different people. Right? They were, yeah, you have a question?
Yeah.
This is about marriage, is it?
Right?
Are you asking me about marriage? No, okay. What is the question?
My question is that why would the foreign traders willing to give all their wealth to the Malay women?
Why they were willing to give?
All their wealth to Malay women.
Why did the foreign traders willing to give their wealth to the Malay women after they divorce? Because they want to come back. So they come here, they come to Southeast Asia and trade for 1 or 2 years, and then they have to leave. Part of their wealth they will give to the Malay women, because these Malay women were also traders. They control the ports. They divorce, go back to China. After a few years, come back again to Malacca or to Southeast Asia and marry another woman. So that's why they don't mess with the woman, because the woman control all the factories and all the trade. In order to maintain relations, you must live with a good bye-bye. You don't say, oh, I fight with you and then bye-bye. You go and take the children, I run away to China. No. They have a code, they call it. A code of ethics. I don't know what's the Chinese word for ethics. What's the Chinese word for ethics? Tao. Tao, correct. Tao is the word. The Tao of Islam, correct. So Tao, they have a Tao where you don't leave your children like that. You leave your children with something. And then it goes on and on. So in Aceh, a woman would be married at least 8 times. 8 times, at least. Quite fun, right? So you can marry Chinese, you can marry Indian, you can marry European, you know, all kinds of ways, correct? Right? Those were the good old days, you know? Okay? So you can read this book by Imal Durkheim. Some of you who are doing sociology, you will have to study Imal Durkheim. Imal Durkheim talks about the division of labor in society. So I'm just going a bit into theory. I'm just going to say that what he is saying in this book is that there was once in history where societies know what their functions are. Men know what they're supposed to do, women know what they're supposed to do, and that's why societies were much more stable. Now, all the division of labor has become overlapping, and that's why there's a lot of divorce and problems. The reason why divorce in Taiwan is also very high. Look at the statistics. It's staggering in Taiwan. Within 5 years of marriage, young Taiwanese will get a divorce. Why they get a divorce? Because they want to marry again. No. Right? Why they get a divorce in Taiwan? Within 5 years? Why? Because they don't spend time together. You work, I work. Correct or not? You come back from work, you say, wow, 100 ya. Correct or not? She come back from work, she also say, wow, 100 ya. You 100, I 100, who's cooking? Nobody cooking. Go into the bed, 100, 100, okay, sleep. 5 years, no baby. Why should we be married? Then comes the maid. You know what's maid? The maid from Indonesia, from Philippines. Correct? And then the husband look at the maid. Hey, she can cook. She can sleep. She can talk. I marry the maid. Correct? This is happening now in Southeast Asia. Because there's no division of labor, society becomes disintegrated. The Khan talks about this. Right? So be careful. When you get married, if you really want your marriage, this is where we learn from history. If you want your marriage to last for a long time, have a clear division of labor. A clear division of labor. If not, work 1 day, finish. 5 years. It's gone. Okay? So the power of marriage and remarriage, as I was saying just now, divorced women were in demand. So when traders come, who they look for? They don't look for virgins. They look for divorced women. Why they look for divorced women? Experience. Really hard. You want to marry me, you're very experienced. Okay? They look for divorced women because divorced women already accumulate wealth and experience, and they also have the networks. And this is most important, right? They have the networks, and they were in demand. So people find for divorced women, and divorce was not a taboo. In Taiwanese society, if you are a woman and you are divorced, what happens? During Chinese New Year, people want update. Ni hao, just got a divorce. Ayya. Why are you divorced? What's wrong with you? Honey every day, is it? Right? In Malay society, if you have a divorce, wow, you just got divorced. When are you going to marry again? Okay? So divorce was not a taboo, and this is by the work of Anthony Reid. The Pan-Southeast Asian pattern of female autonomy meant that divorce did not markedly reduce a woman's livelihood, status, or network of kin support. When you get a divorce, your family doesn't abandon you. When you get a divorce, your family becomes even stronger. So it's a different conception. It is because of modernity that divorce becomes seen as bad. Today in Taiwan, if you are divorced, people say something is really wrong with you, that's why you're divorced. In Southeast Asia in the past, if you get a divorce, that means you are trying to expand your wealth even more and more and more. Okay? You're getting ideas already now. Right? How is it so far? Are you still following me? Are women powerful in Southeast Asia? Yes, they are very powerful because they have all of this. And they also have the power of diplomacy. In Aceh, the women were made the commander of the navy. So you don't have to watch Superwomen down the road. Don't watch Superwomen Hollywood. In Southeast Asia, women were generals in the army. Generals in Chinese is what? Zhangchu. Zhangqin. Women were generals. And men didn't have a problem with women leading the army. The Sultan of Aceh. Aceh is one of the most Islamic state in those days. They put a woman as the chief of navy, and women also act as envoys, interpreters, unofficial bodyguards, and political brokers. So the best bodyguards during the time of the sultanates were women. Right? They would follow the king wherever they are, and because they are trained in martial arts, they will defend the king. Not men. Women do the job. Women were much more powerful, and that's why if you look at Malay history, only in Southeast Asia you can see women becoming kings and queens. In Chinese history, you have Empress Dowager. You have read about Empress Dowager. What is her Chinese name?
慈禧
You all know what?
慈禧太后
Shi Tai, right? So Chinese over here. In Patani, in one part of Southeast Asia, you have women who were queens of Patani. They become the head of state. Just like right now, your head of state is a woman, correct? Huh? The head of the leading party, she's already resigned because of the recent election, but she's a woman. In the past, they really had. And there was also the Sultanas of Aceh that ruled from 1641 to 1669, and Tun Fatimah, who was the Queen of Malacca in the past. Okay, so I want to show actually a a YouTube video, but I do not know whether it would work here. Let's see whether it will. This is actually a video. I always show students videos so that they will wake up when they are sleepy. Let's see whether we can view this. This is basically a movie of about the Queen of Patani who was Muslim, but they produce it in Thailand. Okay, you can view this. If you are interested, you can watch the movie. Where's the sound? Yes, thank you.
เรื่องการสกัดเป็นรัฐโดดเดี่ยวซึ่งมีบุคคลสิทธิหน้าสุลต่านสงขลาพร้อมที่จะลุกรานมือท่านเจ้าชายราวัยกำลังซ่อมสินคนกับพวกโจรสลัดมีการดับ
So this is the Queen.
เราร่วมมือกันการดู